Tonight, we begin with a quiet story, one that moves gently through a small cabin, through long journeys on foot, through quiet reading, and through one man's steady kindness that grew into leadership without ever losing his gentle heart. It is the story of Abraham Lincoln, a man who loved learning, who walked long distances, who read by the light of a fire, who grew from humility into strength, and who became one of the most respected leaders in the history of humanity. There's no need to hurry through this story. Let it unfold slowly, like the slow growth of a tree from a small seed. As you listen, imagine a small cabin, simple, quiet, with a fire burning softly in the hearth, and a young boy sitting by that fire reading a book on a worn wooden floor with quiet determination and a heart full of hope. Tonight we follow his journey from a quiet childhood in Kentucky to a life of quiet strength that still inspires the world today. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 in a small log cabin in Hodgenville, Kentucky. He was born into a quiet home under a wide sky where the days moved slowly and the nights were filled with the sounds of the earth. From the beginning, Abraham seemed to notice the world with unusual care. While other children might have played loudly, Abraham was the kind of child who watched, who listened, who wondered. He was born into poverty. His family had very little. The cabin was small, the floor was dirty, the roof leaked. But despite all of this, there was something strong in the heart of this family. There was hope. There was a belief in the value of learning. There was a belief that even from small beginnings, something greater could grow. His mother, Nancy, was a woman of quiet strength. She taught Abraham to be kind, to be honest, to value others even when they had less than he did. She read to him when she could, and she encouraged his curiosity. But when Abraham was only 9 years old, his mother died. It was a devastating loss. He was young, too young to understand death, but he felt it deeply. He felt the silence that followed her absence. His father, Thomas, was a hard-working man, but he was not deeply educated. He believed in work, in practical skills, but he did not value schooling the way Abraham's mother had. After his mother's death, Abraham's sister Sarah took care of him. She prepared meals. She kept the home. She tried to give him the love that their mother had given. And then, when Abraham was 13, his father married again. His stepmother, Sarah Bush Johnston, brought warmth and books and encouragement into their home. She believed in Abraham's potential. She encouraged his reading. She gave him the love and the support that he needed. In the quiet of his childhood, in the simplicity of the cabin, a young boy began to dream of a future where he could learn, where he could grow, where he could become something more than his circumstances had suggested he could be. As the years passed, Abraham's desire to learn only grew stronger. He was not searching for fame. He was not searching for recognition. He was searching for understanding. He wanted to read. He wanted to understand the world. He wanted to learn about history, about law, about the way people should treat one another. He wanted to learn and to help others through the quiet, steady power of knowledge. That dream took shape slowly, the way many important dreams do. It was not rushed. It was not forced. It simply kept returning to him year after year until it became part of who he was. Schooling was rare in the place where Abraham lived. There was no schoolhouse near his home when school was available. It was often only for a few weeks at a time. Abraham attended school off and on for maybe a year total in his entire childhood, but he did not let this stop him. He borrowed books. He read them carefully. He read them again and again. He memorized passages. He wrote on wooden boards when he had no paper. He wrote by the light of a fire when he had no lamp. He had very few books, but the ones he had, he knew deeply. The Bible, Aesop's Fables, Robinson Crusoe, Pilgrim's Progress, the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence. These books he read and he reread and he studied until the words became part of him. He walked long distances to borrow books, sometimes miles and miles, just to read something that someone else had written. He returned them always on time, always carefully, always with gratitude, and slowly, through quiet reading, through quiet study, through quiet determination, his mind began to grow. His understanding deepened. His belief in himself began to strengthen. That dream was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was gentle, steady, and full of hope. In the quiet of his thoughts, in the stillness of his mind, a future began to take shape, one that would lead him from a small cabin to a place of leadership that would change a nation. As Abraham grew older, he began to work. He worked on farms, he split logs, he built fences, he guided boats down the river. He did hard work, the kind of work that built strong muscles and a strong character. He was tall, 6'4", very tall for his time. He was strong from years of hard labor, but he was not prideful, he was not boastful, he was humble, and he was kind. People noticed him not just for his height, but for his honesty. He was so honest that people called him Honest Abe. If he made a promise, he kept it. If he owed someone money, he paid it back. If he made a mistake, he admitted it. He worked in a store, and when he realized he had overcharged a customer by a few cents, he walked miles to return the money. He worked as a postmaster, and he treated everyone with respect, no matter who they were. He worked as a surveyor, and he did his job with care and with integrity. And slowly, people began to trust him. They began to listen to him. They began to see that here was someone who could be relied upon, who could be counted on, who could be counted on, who could lead without forgetting where he came from. He began to read law on his own. He studied the laws, he read the cases, he learned the system without ever attending law school, and he became a lawyer, a good lawyer, known for his honesty and his fairness. He traveled to different towns to represent people in court. He rode horses for miles and miles to get to the places where he needed to be. He met people from all walks of life. He listened to their stories. He learned from their struggles, and he grew in understanding, in compassion, in wisdom. Imagine the journey, riding on horseback through the countryside. The sun warms above, the road stretches ahead, and Abraham, sitting tall, thinking, reading, preparing for the work ahead. A horse steps, a book opens, a new idea takes shape, each small moment connected to the others in ways that only time can reveal. These moments were not loud, but they were profound. They changed him. They changed how he saw the world. And all of it began with patience and a quiet willingness to learn, to work, and to grow. As the years passed, Abraham's quiet strength began to draw people to him. They saw his honesty, they saw his kindness, They saw his ability to understand different sides of an argument, and they began to believe that he could serve in public office. He entered politics. He was elected to the Illinois state legislature. He served several terms. He spoke in quiet but powerful ways about justice, about equality, about the need to hold to the principles that the nation was founded upon. He was not a loudspeaker. He did not use grand gestures. He spoke slowly, carefully, thoughtfully, and people listened because what he said was true. It was honest, it was fair, but the country was changing, and it was changing in difficult ways and painful. The issue of slavery was dividing the nation. Some wanted it to end, some wanted it to continue, and the tension was growing day by day. Abraham believed that slavery was wrong. He did not say this loudly. He did not say this angrily. He said it quietly but firmly. He believed that all people should be free, that all people should be treated fairly, that all people should have the opportunity to live lives of dignity, and of purpose. He ran for the Senate. He lost, but he did not give up. He ran for president, and this time he was elected. Imagine the moment when he received the news that he had been chosen to lead the nation. In the quiet of his room, in the stillness, a new responsibility was now his. A new trust had been placed in him, and the nation became a little less divided and a little more hopeful in its possibility. That moment was not loud, it was not dramatic, but it was profound. It changed him, it changed the nation, and it changed the way people think about leadership forever. Abraham became the 16th President of the United States, and he would lead during one of the most difficult times in the nation's history, the Civil War, a war that would test everything the nation stood for. But he did not lead with anger. He did not lead with hatred. He led with quiet strength, with deep belief, with an unwavering commitment to the principles of freedom and of unity and of peace. Of course, Abraham's path was not always easy. The Civil War was long and it was bloody. Many people died. Many families were torn apart. Many questions arose about whether the nation could survive at all. Abraham faced criticism. He faced doubt. He faced moments when the work felt heavier than it needed to be. Some people wanted him to move faster, to end slavery immediately. Some people wanted him to move more slowly, to be more cautious, to be more careful. He walked the difficult path between these two extremes. He moved with patience and with wisdom and with a deep understanding of the timing that was needed. He was tired. The war exhausted him. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on his shoulders. He lost sleep. He worried deeply. He carried the pain of the nation in his own heart. But he did not let this stop him. He continued to lead. He continued to think. He continued to believe in the truth he had discovered. He believed that the nation could be united. He believed that slavery could end. He believed that peace could come even after so much war. There is a quiet strength in that kind of perseverance. It does not need to shout. It simply keeps going. Abraham's story reminds us that being tested does not define a person. What defines a person is how they respond. He responded with patience, with kindness, with unwavering belief. And because he remained faithful to his vision, his leadership carried even more weight. He showed that humility is not weakness. It is a powerful kind of strength, one that can endure and eventually transform the world. As the years passed, Abraham's leadership continued to change the nation. His Emancipation Proclamation freed the enslaved people in the states that were in rebellion. It was a bold step toward freedom, toward justice, toward the fulfillment of the nation's promise to all its people. And he gave speeches that would be remembered forever. The Gettysburg Address was one of the shortest speeches ever given by a president, only 272 words, but it was powerful, it was moving, it was profound. He spoke of a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. He spoke of a new birth of freedom that would come from the sacrifice of those who had died in the war. He spoke of a government of the people, by the people, for the people, that would not perish from the earth. Imagine the moment when he spoke those words at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg. In the quiet of the gathering, in the stillness, a new truth emerged, a new understanding appeared, and the nation became a little less divided and a little more united in its purpose. That speech was not loud, it was not dramatic, but it was profound. It changed America. It changed how we see leadership, and it changed the way people think about freedom forever. All of it began with patience and a quiet willingness to lead with kindness and with belief in the possibility of peace. Abraham Lincoln's life did not end with the war. Over time, he became deeply devoted to healing, to bringing the nation back together, to helping the people who had suffered during the conflict. He believed that reconciliation was more important than revenge. He believed that mercy was more powerful than punishment. He believed that the nation could be healed if people chose to come together in kindness and in understanding. He spoke of malice toward none. He spoke of charity for all. He spoke of binding up the nation's wounds with care and with compassion. His legacy became more than politics. It became a call to attention, to kindness, to compassion, and to responsibility. This part of his story is especially peaceful because it shows how a life rooted in humility can become a life of service. Abraham did not lead for himself. He led for others. He encouraged them to do the same. And in that way, his work reached far beyond the presidency. It touched families. It touched communities. It touched hearts around the world. Abraham Lincoln's story is one of humility, kindness, quiet courage, and deep care for the world. He began as a boy in a small cabin with a heart that dreamed of learning and became someone whose leadership still helps us understand the power of quiet strength today. His life shows us that great change does not always come from speed or force. Sometimes it comes from waiting, working, and caring deeply enough to stay true to what is right, even when it is difficult. That is a gentle lesson, but it is also a lasting one. His legacy continues in the leaders who serve, in the students who choose humility, even when the path is difficult, in every person who believes that kindness can change the world, and in every person who grows from small beginnings and believes in the power of quiet strength. Abraham's life reminds us that a calm and humble heart can leave a wide ripple across the world. And as the cabin grows quiet and the evening deepens, we can remember his story as a quiet gift, one that teaches us that patience, kindness, and care can change everything.